Good afternoon, everyone. Just let us know if you can see and hear us okay. I probably should wait a couple of minutes before I say that because I have to say it
Yeah,
about
you probably
10
should.
times. Yeah, afterwards anyway, because literally there's no one watching right now. And at least I'm talking to you, Matthew, and not myself. But
Yeah, not just
uh,
yourself. I've noticed it's gone really recently. It's quite delayed, so I've noticed that.
it is. We've got a few people jumping on. I'm
Oh,
just going to jump into the comments here. My phone has been going nuts today. Messages, people going live, stuff like that. It's just been going absolutely crazy. Oh, it says the live has ended
oh,
on my one. I know there's a lot of internet issues today. Just let us know if you can, because we've not had any comments, but it has said that the video has stopped, but more people are coming on. So this is weird. Isn't that said hello? Hi, Jamie.
no, we're live.
Are we live?
Yeah, we are live.
That's so weird. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Here we are.
that's the camera. There you go. Yeah, we're
All right.
live.
Yeah, but it's massive. Yeah, okay.
That's
I believe
weird.
you. Yeah, it's massively delayed. So yeah, apologies if you're going to ask some questions. They're going to take about 10 minutes before they reach us. So Jonathan says hi. Kellyanne's watching as well. Stephanie, all working. Thank you. Dan's watching. I can see you. I can see you too, Dan. Jamie says can see and hear you. Inga says hi. Simon's just jumped on. Dave, Shabat, right. Everyone's sort of jumping on now. So appreciate that. Well, we were just literally talking beforehand, and I know we're going to talk about this at some point in the future anyway as well. So, but if you don't mind me saying, Matt, we were just talking beforehand. You've just been delivered some unexpected news,
Unexpected
and
news. Yeah.
you know, it's the plight of the business owner, unfortunately. And we were just talking about some of the options, and I think you're still in a little bit of like, oh, what do I do or whatever, but it's going to be something you just have to take. So if you want to let everyone know the challenge that you've been handed
Yeah.
today.
So the landlord has basically decided to replace our roof, and they had people measuring up today. Obviously, that's kind of an issue when you're in a warehouse. But then it gets better because the roof might be asbestos, so there's no possibility of us being able to work around the roof being replaced if it is asbestos. So
Yeah,
we'll have to wait and see what happens.
yeah, I think so. It's one of those unfortunate, unexpected incidences that you have when you're a business owner, and the longer that you're in business, the more likely you are of having these events happen to you over a period of time. That's a new one on me. I always say there's not much that we haven't been exposed to in 15 and 20 years of business, but I would definitely say that's a new one off me, because
Yeah,
of course, I said, well, why don't you just send everything through FBA? And then, of course, you said, well, we've got Shopify, we've got eBay as well, but you could multi-channel fulfill from your eBay, from your Amazon stock.
yeah. We have a lot of exclusives as well
Mhm.
that don't sell on Amazon. So yeah, I mean we would. It's just we're going to have to manage it, aren't we? We do have another site as well, so we can operate out of that. It's just the time and effort to move everything. It's not a complete, catastrophe. We have another site. We can move everything back over there and operate out of there, but it's just not ideal in the slightest.
Yeah, it's just ag, isn't it? Angela's
Yeah,
joined us. Marion's joined us. Howdy back. Alexander, Lindsay, Dave, Yvonne, Shabana. Simon says all working. Thank you. We are live. Definitely we are. So yeah, I mean, these are the unexpected kind of events that you have when you run a business. You get weird and wonderful things that happen to you, or definitely probably more on the weird side. But you have to it's definitely these type of things that being in business, it's plain sailing. And it's not plain sailing. I was thinking about this morning, and I was thinking about something that, being in a standard job, because you tend to, when stuff, not necessarily like that, because that's quite unforeseen, but when you're feeling a
yeah,
little bit poorly, or you're feeling a little bit like you don't want to face the world today or whatever. Matt is today doing his charity golf thing. So if he is watching on the golf course, good luck, darling. Smash it. Hope you do really well. He's about halfway through. But he's gone off and done that. My daughter's come down with a sickness bug today. And sometimes you wake up in the morning, you've got lots to do and challenges to face, and you think, oh, today's just one of those days that I wouldn't mind being in an employed job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't mind just being able to call in sick for the day, or something like that. Of course, everything else massively outweighs that. But it's these sort of challenges and things that you have to face and you have to navigate. And then it got me thinking, actually, at that point where, people are desperate to leave their jobs and be full-time entrepreneurs, full-time this, full-time that. Well, actually, anybody that thinks it's easier, it's not. It's so much harder. The challenges that you have to face and the situations that you have to navigate, unexpected circumstances, drops in business, warehouse roofs, falling in. It's not all plain sailing, is it, Matt?
No, I mean, I suppose if you're in an employed job, certainly for a large company, if someone said, "Oh, we've got to shut your building for refurb," you'd be like, "Oh, yes, paid week off."
Yeah.
Whereas as a business owner, you're like, "Oh my word, what are we going to do?"
Yeah, and I bet your staff are earwigging in, and they're thinking, "All right, I've got got a week
No,
off
no. In
now."
fairness to my guys, they were like, "Oh, this is a nightmare," because they know they're going to have to move everything.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, absolutely. Simon said, I was working on a job, and as soon as we found asbestos, they shut the place down and couldn't work there anymore until it was removed. Probably, I suppose, if they
Yeah.
disturbed it, maybe something like that. But I was actually going to shout out and say to anyone, if anyone's aware of how long it would take just to either scare the life out of Matt or put his mind to ease, one of the two, because I'm not sure how long something like that will take. I'd imagine it can't be drawn out because they don't want the particles, floating around for too long, do they? So I'd imagine
I
it's
mean,
a
to be
quite
honest,
quick
it doesn't.
job.
It's in a roundabout kind of way. It doesn't matter how long it
Yeah,
lasts
I suppose.
because we can go to the other site. It's the effort of going to the other site that's the damage.
Yeah, that's the issue. Colin's joined us, so's Andrew. Afternoon, both, and Amanda's joined us as well. So today I want to talk about, what's on everyone's mind at the moment, and if it's not on your mind, what rock have you been living under? And that's the impending kind of inflation, how it's potentially going to impact on what we're all doing in the next 12 months. Just some thoughts, talk through that, answer some questions. Of course, Matthew and I are not economists or financial accountants or anything like that. So it is purely conjecture. This is purely our, opinions on things. So, don't blame us if we say something. And, but don't worry, we're not going to be giving any type of financial advice or anything like that. So just wanted to make that clear before we get started. And yeah, it's definitely something that is very much on people's minds at the moment because it's something we're all experiencing. Sometimes a little bit, with things that have happened in the past and, what's happening in the outer world, in places like Ukraine and things like that. It doesn't, well, it depends how you look at it. It doesn't directly affect us as we're not living it. So sometimes people like, it's not my problem. If I can't see it, if I can't touch it, then it's, it's not going to affect me. Whereas this is something that's going to affect all of us, at some point, regardless of what you do, whether it's in your business, your personal life, you're paying your bills, whatever, it is going to have an impact in some way. So I think it's good for us to kind of address it, talk about it, but, it's not kind of slit your wrists, guys. This isn't going to be like doom and gloom. It's not forever, because I think that yes, there are tough times coming. There are challenging times coming. But I also think that at the same time, I do think it's going to be short and I think it's going to be sharp. That's my own personal opinion. And then, I think we will be on a road to recovery. I just can't see. But again, I'm not an economist. And be interested to hear your thoughts, Matt, and everyone else's thoughts. I just can't see this being the state of the world that we live in today. I can't see this being a drawn out 70s, 80s style type recession. I just can't. I can't see how the world could continue.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I was chatting to somebody today. I said, this is a very different kind of situation to certainly 2008 and other kind of recessions. This is a supply-led recession, not a demand-led recession. all of the recessions sort of, we had 2008 was very much a demand-led recession, and it was all about consumer confidence in pretty much everything that led to downturns, and then everything kind of fell apart from there.
Mm-hmm.
This is a supply-led crisis. People are still spending money. Look at the queues at airports. People are going on holiday. I think some people are going to struggle, but sort of maybe restaurants, because people will tighten their belt, not going out as much. But I think from consumer spending, it's not going down. There's still the demand. It's just not the supply to meet the demand, which is what's causing the problems.
Yeah, absolutely. That is where the crux of this is coming from in all areas, and what's pushing the inflation up. It is, supply chain issues with regards to physical products, services, that type of thing. So this is what is ultimately pushing these type, and we're already seeing sort of areas of recovery in certain parts of the supply chain. Paul's joined us on YouTube. Good afternoon. So's Craig. Good afternoon. So we are seeing, some kind of green shoots, but like everything, it's cause and effect. So it takes, a long time, for these things to come through. And what we're experiencing now, whilst the impact of the Ukraine war was a lot more instant on, certain levels of the inflation, but even my conspiracist head sort of like said, well, I still don't know, why we're getting higher electricity bills when we supply something like 70% of our own energy anyway. That's one for all your conspiracies out there. You'll love that one. But, all of these different types of thing that has, whereas we're still feeling the effects of, all of those shipping issues that we had last year. And, what happens generally with, as Matthew's absolutely right, this is a supply-led, inflation-driven recession, essentially. And once those supply chains do return to normal, then you should start seeing, these type of things starting to return to normal. But it's the damage that it can do in the meantime, because if inflation does go up too high, customer demand will at some point be impacted. They're trying to get us to stop spending and start saving. But my own personal opinion on it is that ultimately they're using tactics from 40 years ago, that are not relevant nowadays, to be perfectly honest. Asking people, putting people's mortgages up by £20 is not going to have a massive effect. And don't get me wrong, I'm not one of these people. I know some people out there say, whack the interest rates up to 5%, do this, do that. Well, I can see that that's the only potential thing that could help. But even then, I don't think it will stop people. You're absolutely right.
I don't think that will have any positive effect at all.
No.
And I understand why the inflation needs to be under control, but I just think that putting the inflation rates is not going to impact inflation very much.
Mm-hmm.
But what it will do is cause an awful lot of hardship to people who have lived with such low borrowing. They're potentially over leveraged. I know a lot of people have bought houses recently and are what you would say up to their limits, because we live on a brand new build estate. I was chatting to some of the neighbours and they were saying, oh, we borrowed more than we thought we could. And I'm like, well, I hope the interest rates don't go up then, because, a lot of people haven't got that spare money. And I don't think it's going to stop the demand. It's just going to cause certain people hardship. And also, the demand isn't just coming from people with mortgages and debt. The demand's coming from everybody. If you're a pensioner with no mortgage, it's not going to have any impact on you at all. Most pensioners have very little debt and no mortgage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what we're seeing now, and it is consumer confidence that is the big thing that we want to talk about today, because at the end of the day, that's why we're all here. Because, we are all, no matter what we sell, all of us sell direct, business to consumer. So we sell direct to the end user at the end of the day, regardless of whether it's services, physical products, whatever. Everybody, listening to this will probably, we all sell physical products to the direct, and generally, most of us sell at inflated prices because we're resellers. So I know that this is something that has been very much a worry to a lot of people in this particular area about, are people going to continue to, pay Amazon prices and do this and do that. And I do still stand by, regardless of what happens, because like you said, Matthew, supply chain issue, we're feeling the effects predominantly of the pandemic now in terms of inflation. That's what we're still feeling the effects for. You guys remember this time last year, container prices were $18,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you're buying products off of the back of now. That's what people are buying the products off of the back of now. But if you were to book a container tomorrow, it's about $12,000 to $14,000. So there is, depending on, what sort of deal you got, whether you're a volume shipper, all of these different types of things. Well, actually, so prices in that respect have halved, but it's not just that. It's, the cost of all of this type of, everything goes up. Factory costs, staffing costs, container costs, shipping costs, logistical tasks, commodity cost of, product, everything's gone up. So it's not just the shipping, because I know someone said that to me in the past. Well, if shipping's half, then everything's going to come down. Well, not necessarily, because that is just, one of the good things that have come down. So the other good thing that's come down at the moment, which I'm not sure people are aware of, is if you are private label seller, is something that is actually pretty good for private label sellers at the moment, in the sense that most people buy in the dollar. The dollar's quite strong at the moment, but it is weakening against certain Asian currencies, which means that some people, if you're aware of that, might be able to renegotiate with your suppliers, because they're getting more bang for their buck off of the back of the dollar. Just a bit like, if we convert dollars back to pounds at the moment, we get more bang for our buck because the pound's so weak. So all of these type of little things. So that means that most people are not going to ask for the discount. The factory owners, the manufacturers, are going to be earning a little bit more. So actually, this kind of inflation area is probably not going to affect the Far East too much, in terms of, because they're the ones holding the, holding the reins, essentially. Yeah. So they're going to be the ones, but no, carry on, Matt. Sorry, you're going to say something.
I was going to say you made a very good point. That's why a lot of the inflationary pressures are in the UK at the moment. It's because of the currency. People were saying, why is the cost of fuel so much when oil is $96 a barrel? Because the pound has weakened so much since it was last at its high. That is why it costs so much more. Most of our food is imported. Pretty much all of our fuel is imported. Gas is imported. This is why it's so expensive.
Yeah. And it's going to continue to get even more expensive. So what's the point where that has an impact on consumer confidence? Because Matthew's absolutely right. And let us know in the comments, guys, if you feel this too. I've been around a bit, different places over the last few weeks, couple of months, been to America, been out to London last week, been away on trips, that type of thing. And I get the distinct impression that people are not stopping spending money. That's, I absolutely get that. And I don't think they will, as long as they've got the ability to borrow. If they are finding themselves unable to borrow anymore, that might change. But at this moment in time, I actually don't think consumer confidence as yet has been affected by this.
No, I don't think there's any effect on consumer confidence. No. And as I was saying last week as well, this cost of living crisis, it is not affecting everybody equally. It is affecting the poor in society far more than it's affecting the middle class and people who have potentially, what you class as a professional job. If you're earning, high five figures, say 60 grand a year, your cost of living has probably not had any real impact on your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. And that's the interesting point, and what I wanted to lead to is the type of audience that we sell to on Amazon and the type of products that the majority of us sell. I can't speak on behalf of everybody, of course, really don't appeal to the sector of people that are going to be impacted the most by this crisis. You know, that's the unfortunate truth, and I feel really uncomfortable saying that because it's a bit like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's an awful thing to say. But it's a little bit the same with the pandemic as well. You know, there were a lot of people that really made hay while the sun shone there. And whilst this is not going to be the same as that, this isn't going to be a ridiculous, you could like shooting fish in a barrel. It's not going to be like that. This is slightly different in the sense that the people that buy the type of products that we sell on Amazon, are not generally watching their pennies.
No, they're not. They're not as price conscious consumers. And certainly, I noticed a lot of people I know bundle on this group. Now, it was a very interesting point was raised to me by somebody, and they said that it's expensive to be poor because obviously you can buy 3 or 4 bottles. Say you buy 3 or 4 bottles of shampoo in a bundle, it costs you 10 quid, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who is on a very tight budget would make a saving buying 3 bottles of shampoo, but they physically do not have £10. So they have to spend £2-3 on one bottle because they haven't got £10 to buy 4 bottles.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. A lot of people who we sell to are much less price conscious and therefore probably don't shop around. And they're probably their biggest lack of resources, not money, but time.
And therefore they are prepared to pay for convenience. And what you've got to remember as it stands, as we are saying this, and I really don't think it's going to change in the future, what you've got to remember is Amazon in particular, its biggest feature, its biggest benefit, which is, biggest feature and the benefit it has on the Amazon customers is Prime delivery. Even if that service went from a 1 to a 2 day. So for any of our American friends that are watching, it'd be like, hang on a sec. Oh, sorry, I was going to do an American accent then. I was like, we have to wait about 4 days for Prime. Well, here in the UK, no, we the majority of us get it next day unless it's outside of Q4. So even if that increased from a 1 to a 2 day service, people are still not paying for the delivery. You pay for delivery in your Prime membership. And therefore, that is ultimately going to draw more people towards Amazon than it is anywhere else. I've seen some shocking. I had to buy a gift for someone the other day, and like a birthday present, and the delivery was $7.99.
Wow.
Like the standard delivery, not next day delivery, $7.99. And it was, I wanted to buy one thing. I think it might have been over £75 that you get free delivery. Well, I'm not going to spend £75 to get free delivery, of course. And so therefore, $7.99, that's £8. Whereas I would quite happily pay more on Amazon. Well, it depends what type of person you are, actually, because I've had this argument with people. Let us know in the comments which type of person you are. My one of my friends absolutely stands by this. She will shop around like crazy and pay more in order to get free delivery. So Amazon will always be our first port of call, but actually she's really price conscious. And she's driven by price, but she don't want to pay for delivery, hates paying for delivery.
Yeah,
so
I don't like paying for delivery.
I don't like paying for delivery because I normally send it back, so it's a waste. I'm one of those. Sorry, guys, if you ever get my custom. But yeah, so that we have to remember that when it comes to selling on this type of platform, is still going to be the biggest benefit for people to shop on this platform and maybe consciously be aware that they are spending a little bit more. So, that's one of the biggest benefits that I see by, us continuing to be Amazon sellers. And whilst consumer confidence is not being impacted at the moment, I think that will continue. Even when it does, that will continue to be too much of a benefit for people to start shopping elsewhere. Because we knew during the pandemic, Amazon changed the world. It changed the world in the way that people bought things. It saved people, essentially. And people don't forget that. And especially if we're going into another crisis as well.
Yeah, completely agree. And also, I think it's changed the mindset of people. a lot of people were anti-internet or shop local, and then they did it and they thought, oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Or I noticed Amazon as well has done a real big push in its advertising to promote the individual seller as well. And I think that's something that's really positive for us as sellers, is that people need to realize that they're not buying from Amazon. In fact, is it like 62% of sales on Amazon now are third-party sellers? So in more cases than not, they're not buying from buying from Amazon.
I know the balance has definitely tipped in the favor of the third party seller, but I don't know. Steve's watching. He's just said money rich, time poor. I'm sure he'll know the percentage. He knows the percentages for everything. Someone let us know in the comments if you know that percentage. But yes, I do know it's definitely tipped in the favor of third party sellers.
Yeah.
It's over 50%. And as far as I was aware, it wasn't like 51-49, definitely tipped in balance of more of their party sellers. So absolutely, I think that they're pushing it. So, and psychologically, we're coming into a crisis as well. We've been through a crisis, we've been through another crisis, back into another crisis. I think, like I said, Amazon saved a lot of people as well. They were able to, facilitate what they couldn't ordinarily get over that period of time during the pandemic, or when people were scared, that fear factor. So I think that will have an impact as well. What I also think will have an impact absolutely is, the people that create their own opportunities as well. And I've said this quite extensively before, and this also applies to resellers, not just people that create their own opportunities. And this is why, guys, you have to stay with the Amazon model. You have to stay with the Amazon model. This is, we're going to talk about some unique things that you can do at the end of this. But ultimately, I know time at the moment, especially if you're just in the standard reseller space, it feels like prices are crashing. I saw some statistics from someone the other day that said 70% of all their products are tanking and everything like that. And we're in a combination of summer slowdown and all these different types of things. And I think that ultimately, in a crisis, people return to Amazon. And overall, when consumer demand is hit, and it will be, I don't think we'll see it hit personally. I think we'll probably see it at the start of Q4 if energy rates go up 50%, like people are saying that they're going to go up 50%. I think there will be an impact there, but I think we will see the worst impacts in Q1 next year.
Yeah, completely agreed.
That's when I think we're going to see it. So people really need to, have the best Q4 ever, I think, definitely, for sure. But what I think will happen, especially over the Q4 period, is yes, people might not have as much money to spend, and they will be more picky where they spend their money. I don't necessarily think that you will get a die-hard person who has never penny pinched in their life or worried about that, all of a sudden scrabbling around, down at the pound store. That's not going to change. I think what's going to happen is they're going to buy less, and they're going to be more picky where they buy, and therefore they're going to want more bang for their buck. And that means things like not paying £8 for delivery, having it delivered right to your door, getting the trust from Amazon. Amazon will probably come out in October and say, hey, we're going to give everyone a 6-month return window. They are going to want to fight for every single one. It's true, guys.
You're just going to see it.
Yeah. But again, I have no issue with the extended returns over Christmas, because I think most customers rarely use it. And I think, if anything, it fuels people to buy more. It puts more trust in your purchase. So yes, potentially coming out the back of it, you might see more people. I knew Steve was going to come in with the percentage.
56. That was a bit
56%. So you're gonna, I would say that yes, there is going to be a retraction in consumer demand. There's no doubt about that. There's definitely going to be a contraction. To say that there wouldn't be would be, false. There is going to be, people are going to spend less money, but I still think the majority of money that they spend will be in places like Amazon. You know, think about it. Costs are going up. I went into my local town the other day to park for a day is like £15. It's ridiculous. No, I'm going to go on Amazon and have a look, and I'm going to get it delivered next day for free. All of these different types of things. That is absolutely where we need to place ourselves to put ourselves in the best possible position for sale at the moment. And, with all the tankers and everything like that, the high margin guys, you've got to remember, they don't care if they drop a percentage. They are about moving units. That's what they're about. But as quick as those prices go down, I absolutely, truly believe that you will see them going up quicker than we've ever seen before. So hang in there.
Yeah.
I think that's really important to express at the moment.
Yeah, completely agree. I think it's always interesting about parking, but fuel as well. I think a lot of people are joking. Oh, I can't afford to drive, but they're not actually joking. They're actually being half serious. And a lot of companies I know are now bringing in work from home, whether full time, part time. It might be the case people decide two-car households go, well, just get rid of a car. We don't need it anymore. And then they probably perhaps go out less and they don't spend as much money on fuel and they order online. So yeah, you may well see more sales because people sell the cars and order online instead.
Yeah, absolutely. And Steve's confirmed there, 56% of paid units were sold by third-party sellers. After the end of Q4, I suspect you'll see that push into the late 50s, the early 60s, because like you said, Matthew, they are advertising third-party sellers more. As you know, anyone that's an ESA member, I did an ESA session last week where we talked about some of the brand, we went through brand registry and we talked about that. And everything that Amazon is pushing into getting sellers onto the platform now indicates that they are almost pushing away from selling themselves and moving more towards third party sellers than ever before. That confidence in it used to be a time where Amazon would do everything, threat, suspend your accounts, do this, do that, if you even looked at the customer in the wrong way. Now they encourage customer contact, they encourage direct selling on the Amazon platform to the customer. So everything indicates to me that Amazon is fully aware of of course they're fully aware of what's going on. And they know by keeping people centralized in that Amazon platform is the only way that they can continue with the dominance that they've managed to achieve over the last 10 years.
Yeah. And from Amazon's perspective, it makes sense because I know, as if you ever looked at their figures, but they make most of their revenue from their AWS services, which is the Amazon Web Services.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine a lot of Amazon's profits comes from third-party sellers because they don't have to do anything for that. Amazon's actual reselling business makes very little, if any, money at all. Amazon's actual sales business, all their profits come from AWS and their other services.
Yeah, absolutely. So believe me when we say that if you are worried about the future in terms of consumer confidence and where people are going to be spending their money, whether people are going to be spending money, people are still going to be spending money. The people that shop on Amazon, the 50% that we appeal to, because I still cut it right down the middle. 50% of people shop on Amazon due to price and 50% shop to convenience. And we appeal to the convenience market. That convenience market are the people that can afford during this crisis to continue to shop. So don't lose confidence in the model. I think the model is as strong as ever, but it is going to be you looking at the places you can source from. I think more people are likely to experiencing supply issue getting product than they are selling that. And that's what we haven't got into yet is supply issues of product, which I know is something that you've been experiencing lately. And all of your margins have gone up dramatically because you are good at finding stuff that people can't find.
Very good at finding stuff people can't find, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what people need to look at. But before we move on to that, let's just, there's a few comments coming. Simon says convenience is key. If you stop at the fast food places, the amount of Just Eat, Deliveroo, Uber Eats, it's insane. I completely agree. The world's changed. we've gone into that Wally world of, I know I'm a Disney nut, but it's so true, where everything is a convenience. Everything is being done for you. Nobody wants to do anything themselves. And I'll be honest, I've run out of stuff in the kitchen, and if I'm making a roast or making a dinner or something like that, and I think, I forgot my Paxo stuff in or whatever. And the thing I do is go straight to Deliveroo, see if I can get it from a local Sainsbury's, see if somebody can deliver it. And then I have to think of like 20 quid's worth of other stuff to do it, as opposed to just getting in the car and running down the shop. So I absolutely 100%, it's, convenience is key. Steve says 55% of customers search their online searches on Amazon. I believe that 100%. 90% of shoppers price checked Amazon's product offerings. Even when they find a product on some other retailer's page, they still compare its price and quality with Amazon's product listings. I believe that. I think a lot of people do price check Amazon, and I've done it, but I will still come back to purchasing from Amazon. And saying, because it's that trust, it's that leverage of, trust, of guarantee. I know I can return it with no ag, all of these different types of things. Whereas, if it's an independent retailer, and don't forget as well, the other thing that we haven't even talked about, and I know we talked about this when we went to the show anyway, Matthew, and I know you offer it as part of your website. So many shops offer, the Klarna and the ClearPay and things like that. But with Amazon, I think you can get, for anything you spend over 100 quid now, I think you can pay it off in 4 installments or 6 installments or something like that. So someone like Amazon's going to have the power to facilitate those slightly higher financial buys for people as well. Colin says AWS revenue. Oh, we've got all the statistics coming in today. Love it. AWS revenue makes up 14.5% of Amazon's total revenue of $110.8 billion. For the first time ever, revenue from AWS advertising, third-party sellers, subscriptions, 55 million surpassed revenue from Amazon's retail and product sales. So yeah, you're right, Matthew. Thanks for sharing that, Colin. So yeah, for the first time ever, Amazon's shifting, and I think moving, because why is Amazon going to spend millions on securing products, supplying products, when the third-party sellers can do it for them
and make them more money? Because a lot of the products don't make any money on. You see how aggressive Amazon is on price.
Yeah,
there's no way. I buy from some of the top distributors, and I know what the supply price is, and I know there's no possible way they're getting it to make a profit, and they don't care. They just stock certain products. But obviously, every revenue from a third party seller is pure profit. That 15-20% they're taking off you is just pure profit to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we know we're not paying the Seller Central staff, quality staff to.
No.
Yeah, definitely not paying quality staff to run that. But will Amazon ever stop selling their own products and being the cheapest? No, it can't afford to do that. So they're never not going to sell those staple products. Matt always, my husband, goes on about the fact that he's got like 1 million subscribe and saves for, sort of washing powder and things like that, where the supermarkets just can't touch those sort of prices. But you just got to be careful where you subscribe and save, because if the price goes up and you're still subscribed in, then you still have to pay that. But he's pretty he's pretty frugal, so he always looks at things like that. So they're never not going to sell. So I don't want anyone to think I'm saying, oh well, Natalie said Amazon has stopped selling direct. Absolutely not. And that will continue. And, because they have to draw people in. Amazon is exactly the same as any retailer, supermarket. They need footfall. They need people in. And then whilst they're shopping for their cheap washing powder or this or that, then all of a sudden, oh, actually, it's, Auntie Doris's birthday next week. I'm just going to get her a gift while I'm here, and I'm just going to shop around, and I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to do that. So that's always going to have an impact for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions? I think we're all good. Colin says cut and paste from Google. Best place where I get all my stuff from. So yeah, so talking about all that, now we did promise that we talk a little bit about, what we can do to avoid it. Well, firstly, from my point of view, make sure that you create your own opportunities. Massive opportunity there.
Yeah.
For people. If people are spending less, they're definitely going to be more fussy about what they're spending on. So if you are in a position to create your own opportunities and make them as attractive as possible, more attractive than your competitors, then you're going to be the one to get the sale at the end of the day. So absolutely, that's something that I recommend to do if you are not doing it already. But we're going to talk a little bit about that potential supply issue. Now, Matt's been really vocal about the fact that the big part of your business is, well, retail arbitrage, where, yeah, just a little bit,
Just a little bit.
A little bit of your business. It is retail arbitrage. We've spoken about this previously. You guys have all talked about it, and because like I said, Matthew does it very differently. You don't go to Tesco. Well, you do go to Tesco, but you don't stand there in the aisles, shopping and scanning, packs of coffee and things like that. It's a very strategic approach. And like you said, you kind of consider yourself, well, no, I'm calling you it. I suppose you don't consider yourself, because no one does, an expert at finding products that, and other opportunities that other people can't. And you guys have always seemed kind of really interested in that. So what we did, and at your request, by the way, everyone, is Matt and I had a bit of a chat about it. And we thought we'd create an opportunity because, like you said, you don't want to, quite rightly, that it's not something you can just give away to everybody, is it? It's not something you can just say, oh, by the way, here's all the secrets to my
here's my business.
Here's my business blueprint, and off you go. So what we thought about doing, and what we thought was a way that we could really give everyone an opportunity who wanted to, or a limited amount of opportunity, is for Matthew to share some of his secrets when it comes to retail arbitrage. And like I said, we know that over the next 12 months, supply chains are tightening. Retailers are tightening up on the amount that they will send out via, deliveries to prep centers and things like that. So if you could adopt a kind of a strategic approach to being able to target stock in a way that not a lot of other people do it, then we wanted to be able to put something together that might be of interest to help people to do that. So with your guys' kind of permission, and if it's okay, what we want to do is we have created a little offer for you that we've put together in order for Matt to impart his knowledge and hopefully give you guys a really good insight into this side of the business, and if it's something that you want to adopt into your own business. So let us know if that's something you're okay for us to continue on and sort of talk about. Oh, dear, I pressed the wrong button here. But like I said, this isn't any type of course launch or anything like that at all. We just want to make sure that you guys are kind of on board, but we're kind of going to say it anyway because you told us to do it anyway. Just wait for the comments to come in. I keep pressing the wrong button. Okay, we've got one yes. So there we go. Brilliant. That's
two yeses. Two yeses now.
Okay, that's all we need, believe us. So what we did was we put together, like I said, when we started this group, one thing was sure, we knew we didn't want to do like big expensive courses.
No.
Especially paying for big expensive courses where you only might want a little part or a little section of that particular course. We want to share our knowledge, but quite rightly, we don't want thousands of people to have the information that we have. So we thought, and we'd seen it done before, but in a slightly different way. So what we thought we would do is put together a masterclass for Matthew to go through and talk about his knowledge in retail arbitrage and run through all of the tips and tricks. And well, tips and tricks is a little bit unfair. It's strategies. There is some really high level planning that you do when it comes to obtaining the stock. But it's not something that's, going to take 15 hours in a course, especially if you've ever done one of my courses. Actually, it probably would in one of my courses. So you thought the best way that you could communicate this to people was a one-off training event where people could attend a couple of hours long, where you can run through all of these different types of strategies. So tell us a little bit more about that, Matthew, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so I've put together a bit of a training. It's going to be we're going to be doing it live, obviously, because I think most people prefer it to be live rather than like a guide or whatever. So I want to be really clear about what this is. This is not. I'm not going to be giving people, oh, go to Tesco's and you can buy this for $7.99. That's not what I'm doing, because there'd be no value in me doing that. Because you know the expression, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So what this is going to be very much about is delivering strategy of how to find deals and how to maximize return on deals and how to plan a successful retail arbitrage trip. So it's not going to be, I'm not going to be giving you deals. I'm going to be giving you the tips and the strategies of how I find the deals, and then I go out. And because at the end of the day, if everybody's working on the same deals, it's not going to work. Okay, is it? It's just simply not going to work. If everyone's buying, I don't know, bottles of sun cream for $7.99 from Boots, and the listing is going to get tanked. So it's going to be very much about the strategy side of it, how we find these deals, how we maximize our returns, how we deal with retailers is a really, really important part of how you actually deal with the retailers. Stop that rejection, stop that why you're buying so many in the first place, rather than trying to deal with it when you get to it. Try and stop that in the first place. So I've put together basically, it's going to be a 2-hour masterclass delivered live. I'm going to be teaching you through all the different tips, the tricks, the strategies of how I plan a retail arbitrage trip in a way that is going to be completely successful for you guys to be able to go out and find your own deals yourselves.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And you do something really unique, which you're going to talk about as well, which is your kind of lifestyle RA trips, which,
Yes.
I actually used to joke about this years ago. You've heard me talk about it before. Say when me and Matt are old, we're gonna do this. And I literally one of the first experiences and exposures I had to this market, the reselling market when we were looking into it, 5-6 years ago at the very, very start, was a guy that used to travel around the country in America, hotel to hotel, used to go strategically pick up stuff, put it in a box, pack it at his hotel, leave at the hotel and move on. Whereas you do something similar, but not, because this guy used to make me I used to chuck stuff in, and I know you don't do that, but you and your wife very much see this as part of, lifestyle.
A lifestyle, well. Yeah. So there's two different types. So I mean, potentially this weekend, another thing I'll teach you is how to find sales before they happen. So I have a hunch that there's going to be a sale dropping this weekend at one of the retailers I work with. That's the level of planning that goes into this. You should be able to spot deals before they become deals, and that's how you get successful, because you know what's coming on sale. I mean, often the amount of times I walk in and they go, "Oh, do you work for the company?" I'm like, "No, I'm just buying to resell." They're like, "Well, how did you find out about all these deals?" Like, yeah, ways and means, because I've built up strategies of finding out about deals and documenting them and sort of. And I don't mean I don't know from head office, just kind of know the process and things of where these retailers, how they plan the sales. So I kind of know about sales before they go. And sometimes I'll plan a massive kind of like a retail trip where I'll go out in the van, very strategic, very organized, very well planned. That's one side of it. That's very much kind of like the profit side of it. Then there's also kind of like the weekend trips where we'll go, oh, there's so and so. Like a couple of weeks ago, I went up to Scotland. Oh, there's so much stock in Scotland in these stores. Do you want to go and do a day going around this particular company, getting these deals, and then on the Sunday we'll have a walk around Edinburgh and we'll stay in a nice hotel. We went to Stratford upon Avon start of May. So we did that in May. We go all over. We've been literally all over the country. Was it you I was telling? There's only one place I've not been to, one city I've not been to, which is Inverness. That's only because it's a bit of a trek. But we've literally been everywhere. We've literally been to every single city apart from Inverness. Yeah. So we go all over. We take the dog with us. It was just kind of different styles of trips, but yeah, it's great. And of course, and the hotel's paid for by the business, the food's paid for by the business, and you can do this as much as little as you want. So you can have a more profit-focused trip where you probably spend sort of 2/3, at least half the trip going out doing deals. Or you could do it where you literally go, oh, I'll go to 3 shops and then I'll spend the rest of the day enjoying myself. It depends what you want out of it. It could be I want to travel and I just want it to be paid for me by my reselling, or it can be I want this to be part of my profit and my business, but I want to enjoy the journey. Because that's the thing with business, people go, here's a start, here's an end point, and and they forget to enjoy the journey, and that's the problem. They don't enjoy the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is, you, like I said, you're very clear about the two sides that you go on. The lifestyle side is not going to appeal to everyone. It's not something I would do personally. I'm being totally transparent, with kids and that type of thing.
I think with kids, it could be a challenge maybe, but I don't think it's impossible. You get the kids. I think the kids of a certain age, get them involved, get them scanning, get them picking stuff up, pushing the trolley. It doesn't need to be. It can be really enjoyable for them as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My son, absolutely not. He would not want to be more than 5 minutes from any type of internet connection or something like that. But absolutely, I think it depends on your kids. It depends on you. But what I was going to go on and say is I certainly would be happy to work my county, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily. So you don't have to go to Scotland. You don't have to go to Northern Ireland. You don't have to go to Wales. You don't have to, if you don't want to, you don't have to go to London. It's one of those things that you can still do it. It's that Paul says, you haven't met my kids. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Definitely. So you don't have to. It's something that you can still do in your local area, or you can county hop, that type of thing. You can do it within, certain type of retailers in your area. So this is something that it probably will appeal to most people, providing you're willing to get out there and do it. We're not going to make any bones. This isn't something that you can do being a bedroom bandit, but you can do it one day a week. You can do it once a month. You can do it once, a fortnight. You can do it as much or as little as you want. So that's what we wanted to make clear. Rosie said, thank you so much. Oh, good. Hopefully you enjoy it. Yvonne says, do we need a van?
No, absolutely not. The thing about, it depends what you're buying, I'll be honest. If you're buying sheds or like garden furniture, then yes, you're probably going to need a van. If you're buying toys, I think how many toys you could fit in the back of your car. You are going to need a vehicle, let's be clear. I think it'll be very difficult to do RA without a vehicle of some description, but it doesn't mean you need to go out and buy a van. We actually had 3 vans, and we went down to 1 van because I spent most of my time going out in the car because it was cheaper, because it was electric. So we still have a van, but we don't have 3 vans anymore. We only have 1 van for big trips. And also, when you do your planning, which I'll teach you how to do, if it's worth it, you could always just hire a van. If it's a big trip and you're going away for a week, just get a van from Enterprise or something, the hire one, which is far more flexible and probably cost effective than actually running a vehicle for it not to be used that often. So absolutely no, you don't need a van at all.
Yeah. Colin says, cut to the chase, what it's going to cost. Well, I was going to go through my whole slide of it. Was 9,995. It's now 4,995. Haven't you got time to hear that?
7 grand's worth of value.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Okay, cutting to the chase. It's 2 hours, around 2 hours masterclass.
It's not strict 2 hours. It's going to be around 2
something
hours,
like that. Plus Q&A, but we'll be on there as long as you guys want. And the section for anyone that obviously pays to attend, it will be recorded, so you will get a recording of it as well. And the cost is £69. So that's the cost to attend. So there's no, it was this or it was that, and you get this and you get that. It's pretty simple. It's going to be everything that Matt's spoken about here for a 2-hour session plus Q&A. And by the way, we're not saying there's anything wrong with it, with any of that. It's just, it's kind of mine and Matt's
on the way we want to do it. We want to offer value to people in a way that's cost effective. And genuinely, again, if you're looking for return on investment, you buy the course, buy the training, £69. You'll probably make that back in 2 or 3 shops. If you go on one trip. So that's what we don't want people to be, investing thousands in something that's not going to work for them. Exactly.
Yeah.
And also another thing to say, because I think people are probably going to ask me, why are you doing this? Why are you sharing this information? Is it because RA's got no legs in it? Not that at all. The beauty of RA is it's geographical. You know, if somebody lives in Scotland, you live in Bournemouth, I live in Cheshire, the geographical restrictions make it viable for everybody. And also, not everybody's going to be sourcing from the same retailers in the same products. So therefore, there's enough country for everybody. The UK is not a massive country, but there is enough country and there's enough retailers for everybody to be successful without, having to eat into somebody else's pie. The problem with online arbitrage is that a lot of people buy off the same deal sheets, they buy from the same retailers in the same way, and that makes it much more competitive than anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, I forgot to turn my notifications off and they're going crazy. Not necessarily, because of this. But what I will say as well, and just tagging on that, and is absolutely true. There is actually a limited amount of spaces to this because
yes, there is.
Both Matt and I are too tight to pay for the software to increase the amount of people. So there is, from a competition point, only a limited amount of spaces as well.
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
not a fake. It's not a fake.
Yeah.
There is a genuine number of people we can have on. It's going to be done by Zoom, guys. It's a bit different this time than StreamYard, which you may have had stuff from us in the past. We're not setting up a group or anything. It's just going to be done via Zoom. But Zoom has a person limit. So once the spaces are gone, that's it. We can't have any more people in because the Zoom won't allow us to have any more people in.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ollie said, I used to have a Ford Fiesta. It's amazing how much I could fit in. Have a pickup now, which is much more space. And that's really interesting, actually, because it's not how big it is, it's how you stack it. Literally, if you are relatively organized at getting your seats down, and that, you will be amazed how much you can get into a standard size car. Paul says £69 to train the wife to shop productively is a no-brainer. And, there's lots of things that, you can do also because, one of the big things technically you tend to lose out on is some of the cashbacks. But, presumably, Matt, I know you don't lose out on the cashback. So you're going, when you're buying in person as opposed to buying digitally. But there's, things like that going to talk about and cover as well. I do just want to quickly talk about what Peter said there, because I think, I'm more than happy to address that. It's Peter on YouTube said, when people are struggling between heating and eating, do you think it's ethical to buy RA and then send for more when taking these items from those that need them the most? And, Peter saying, is there a way around it? It doesn't sit right with me. I'll sort of say my point first. This has always been the same, with buying and reselling stuff. Absolutely. I think from my own point of view, and I know from your point of view, Matthew, a lot of the stuff's on clearance anyway. So when it comes to sell it, you're not really selling higher than what the original RRP is. And it may well be that you're picking up in Scotland in an area and supplying stock to the country that they may not have been able to get that type of stock anyway as well. And
I sounded smashy.
Well, that was my glass. Just smashed. How weird, look. And it's smashed at the point.
Was it the heat?
I don't know. Look. I don't know if you can see that. It's just below where the water is. So damn, I always smash stuff. I'm literally, I don't know what I did. Anyway, so, but from my point of view, just from an ethical point of view, and this is personally what I do, is say, for instance, there's 10 on the shelf, I leave 2.
Yeah.
That just makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would say very similar to how I run my business. So arguably, I could be helping people because a lot of what I do is if I go to Scotland, which for me is, say, 200 miles, okay, I can justify that trip by hitting 10 stores and I buy a product, I put it online. Yes, I'm putting a markup on that product, but I could be making that product more available to somebody, say, in Bournemouth more cheaply than they could physically get it from that store in Scotland. So potentially I could be saving them money rather than actually charging them more money. Again, I always buy clearance products, mostly clearance products. I don't do fads. I don't do trends. I don't do grocery items personally. So that sits fine with me because most stuff is kind of last year's stuff anyway, that people are not kind of queuing up out the shop to buy. For example, I don't do like the PS5 trend. I think that would be
we're not scalpers.
But then again, you say you're taking things from people who need them. There's a difference between need and want. If you're buying, I'd like, for example, people who bought toilet rolls in the pandemic, they were, insert swear word here. They were genuine. They were people who were causing more hardship to people than me, because if I'm buying PS5s, do people really need PS5s? I mean, really? So your life isn't. You've survived X amount of your life without a PS5. You don't now need a PS5. So I think it depends. If you're struggling from an ethical point of view, buying things that people don't actually need, that they're not really going to have any impact on their life.
Yeah.
And then of course, if you do feel it doesn't sit right with you, leave one behind. If there's 10 in a shop, buy 9. There's one there available for somebody else. There's always that option. You don't have to clear the shelf, because certainly I don't always clear the shelves.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, we're talking about arbitrage at the end of the way in its crudest form, which is the world's oldest form of transactional, ability to make money. You buy low, you sell high. And it's done in every single sector, in every single retailer in the world. If you buy something from, say, Sainsbury's, a toy at £30, the cost of that toy to be manufactured is probably £5. So where's the morality there? Why does it stop with the retailer and end with another link in the chain? And that's not me being funny. It's just, playing devil's advocate. From that point of view, it's a little bit like me with the whole recycling thing. I get really funny about recycling in the sense of people pushing it onto the end user, us being the devil because we don't put the right packet in the right bin at the right time on a Tuesday at 4 p.m. Well, fix the issue at the source. Don't kind of blame the end user. So that's a little bit how I look at it in that respect as well. Just because there's one more link in the chain, it just means that there, as Matthew said, there is, it's already got to the point where it's kind of overinflated anyway. That's the way that I look at it. And again, completely from a need and want point of view. Peter says, sorry, was just able to join, so not sure if I missed this out, but I have this as a limiting belief, and I'm sure many others do as well. Yeah. The way I deal with it is I certainly don't touch products that I don't scalp. So I don't go out of my way to buy a product that I know is going to be the top hot Christmas seller and then sell it for 5 times its face value. That's, I'm definitely not a scalper in that respect. So that's the way that I deal with it. But I am providing a service. I'm checking it. I'm picking it up. I'm making sure it works. I'm packaging it up, and as cause and effect, they're going to have it delivered at their door, for little or no extra, more cost, but no extra convenience to themselves.
I mean, I guess in that respect, what's the difference between being a delivery service and RA? The only difference is rather than putting a charge on your services, i.e. finding and collecting, you're putting a charge on the goods. I mean, you could look at it that way. There's no difference between, there's people who product source for people, and they say, I've got a car dealership. I want a Mercedes E63. Go and find me one. And then they say, well, there'll be £1,000 finder's fee. But what's the difference between that and retail arbitrage in its rawest form? The only difference is that the return or your charge for your services, you're delivering to the customer, has been put on the product rather than as an upfront service fee for finding that product. So I think the ethics is very much up to you how you want to do it and how you want to play with your kind of what your limits are. But I don't see anything that's unethical about the way that we conduct our businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it comes down to, Peter. It's about you and how you handle it. Definitely, for sure. Rodney says, I always call him Rodney this time next year. I have jumped on trends, but it's just a one-time buy, sell handful of units, so not to get burnt. Absolutely. It's different strokes for different folks. People look at things in different ways. So your own personal has to, Matt and I here aren't here to persuade anyone to do anything. You know, at the end of the day, it has to sit right with you, has to do it. I share some of those issues that you have, Peter, definitely, but you know, I deal with them. When I used to do a lot of retail arbitrage, how I started out, yeah, absolutely, I wouldn't clear the shelves. I would always leave 10%, 20% I would leave behind, you know, in the way that I deal with it. So that's how I deal with it. But you know, you've got to be comfortable in doing it yourself. Rosie says drinking spirits, definitely something weird going on, that just glass that just randomly cracked. Hayden says, I'll sign up. Don't even do RA, but I'll never say no to knowledge like this from an expert. Absolutely. Shabana said, I was actually ready to hear 495. So at 69, I'm definitely in. Yeah, this is what we want to do. It's, you know, it's definitely something we just want to make knowledge more accessible to people. I'm not a believer, to be perfectly honest. And this is going to be very controversial. I don't believe kind of all knowledge should be free, in the sense that, especially if it's, you know, someone else's experience and their blood, sweat and tears and their trial and error and things like that. I think if you give away everything, it makes people not take action. I feel if there is some form of transaction, it gives people the ability, you know, to take action on it more so. So that's definitely how I feel. And also it comes down to, like I said, you know, the fact that these are Matthew's strategies, and you know, of course, he wants to, you know, wants to be able to share them. I remember the first time I worked with Matthew, and absolutely why, you know, why I knew I wanted to work with Matthew on, you know, a lot of future projects is because the one thing you said to me was, you know, I don't want anyone to join any type of training that I do, or anything like that, if they're not going to take action on it, if they're not going to put it into place, if they're not going to actually take the information, do something with it, and, you know, really make a success out of it. And I said, I love that ideal, but, you know, it's something that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Make it drink, yeah.
Yeah, well, Matthew, if you wouldn't mind dropping the link, have you got the link?
Yes, I can do that.
I put it in there because a couple of people have already messaged me to say that we've been that they're going to have to run and they would like the link to sign up. Peter says
I'll put the link in the chat, and then I'll put another post out afterwards as well.
Yes.
So,
by the way, guys, we're going to do this next Wednesday at 7:00. So not
yes.
So it's a week tomorrow. I was
just. But don't worry if you can't attend live; it'll be available as a replay. But better live if you can, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is genuinely not that I think we'll fill the capacity that we have anyway, but genuinely, I think a lot of people are surprised at the price that Matthew's doing this. So I assume that bums will go on seat relatively quickly. But if you do want to get involved, please make sure you sign up, because there is genuinely a limited amount of spaces for this masterclass. So the checkout's going there. Kay, yeah, I will confirm it again next Wednesday at 7:00. I think it's the 29th, is it?
Yes, 29th, yeah.
29th at 7:00. Again, you know, it's something we may choose to run again in the future. But if you want the information now, and by the way, I would recommend that you do it now as opposed to later, because I know for a fact that one of the most kind of fortuitous times to go out and do RA is the change of season. A lot of summer sales, picking up stock, isn't there, Matthew? Over the summer period, where the retailers change from their summer stock into their winter stock.
I was chatting to Guy in one of my retailers I work with. He said it's their biggest ever range change this year, because basically because of COVID, a lot of companies have held off rebranding products, changing products, because they weren't sure what was going to happen. They said that they've got their biggest ever range changes this year, so there's going to be potentially an awful lot of product that's going to be essentially liquidated for no other reason than there's a new version come out, and it could be perfectly good and, you know, perfectly up to date. Essentially, it's just there's a new version come out.
Yeah, and also you've got to remember retailers are creatures of habits as well. So when last year, what happened was there was lots of stuff. If you guys remember, it feels like a lifetime ago. There was a lot of stock that was being held up at all of the docks and wasn't coming through last year, which would have been a lot of seasonal stock that they couldn't sell in the right time of the season. So therefore, you'll probably find that you're going to see quite a lot of heavily discounted clearance items more so this year, because they'll have the new stuff coming in and they need to move the old stuff and they won't be able to hang on to it. So I know I've definitely been around. I know I'm talking supermarkets where I've seen a few kind of odd clearance items, and different stuff appearing when it shouldn't, but because of the issues with the supply chain at the moment. And you've got to remember, it's one of those things that, one of the biggest things where I think this will really help people that are prepared to get out and do this is absolutely, we haven't really started to experience the supply chain issues yet. And therefore, I do think retailers are going to tighten up on minimum order quantities that people can order online. And I'm not dooming and glooming and scaremongering. I think it's one of those things that you're going to have to change your strategy in the way that you do it. I think you'll still be able to access it, but will you be able to get 40 items of one thing from Asda anymore? Probably not over the next kind of 12 months. Things are going to tighten up, so you will be able to go out and get and get the stuff and pick it up yourself and still be able to do it. And of course, that's gonna it's gonna lessen competition. You've noticed that in your business yourself. Your margins have gone up because you're prepared to go out and get the stock and other people aren't.
Yeah, 100%. And especially during summer, because I mean, it's great in summer, going out doing RA. It's nice, isn't it? When it's sunshine, the sun's shining.
Yeah. Rodney makes a good point. And, and I think going back to Peter's point, it's sort of like, if you are uncomfortable doing it, we're not here to persuade anyone to do it, on the RA, OA side of things, just it's one of those things. But, he says, I don't do it anymore. Just do wholesale. But that's the way I started and it works well. So, this could be something you start and then you progress into something else. Absolutely. Personally, in the way that I don't think I've ever met anyone who is runs his business as ethical as Matthew does. So I know that absolutely there'll be no issues or no boundaries crossed in that respect. And I definitely feel comfortable championing him from that point of view. But like I said, absolutely, we want to make sure everyone's happy, and we don't want to twist anyone's arm into doing it for sure.
I mean, the beauty of Amazon is there's plenty of other business models. Like, say, if you're not comfortable doing OARA, do wholesale, do private label, whichever.
Rodney said no reason for not doing it. I just don't anymore. Yes, one of those things. But definitely good to be able to top up. So Matthew's put the link in there. We'll put a post in the group this afternoon if anyone's got any additional questions. But don't overthink it, guys. It's not going to be like you have to commit to 6 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever. This is a one-off training session. If for any reason, it doesn't get covered in that period of time, we'd probably do an extra one or something. But, I'm pretty sure that Matt's got it covered. We'll stay on the call as long as we need to. If you can't attend, then providing you've paid for access, you'll get the recorded copy. But of course, we encourage as many people to join live as possible. We're going to do it via Zoom this time. So there will be opportunity for it to be a little bit more interactive at the end, in the sense that people can ask questions. They can come on camera, they can ask questions, they can stay off camera, they can ask them on the mic, they can type them. We're going to have an option for everyone.
Yeah, there's whichever you like. You can either, it's a good thing about Zoom actually, is that you can actually ask live over Zoom, or you can just type the question if you're not comfortable coming on camera. So
yeah, absolutely. Paul says all signed up. Well done. It looks like we haven't sold out, so people can sign up, which is good. Not that we expected to, 100%. Colin says, how many times do you expect to run the course? How many times?
I don't know. I don't want to say, oh, we're never running it again and all that sales rubbish, because we are going to run it again. I don't know. I mean, realistically, probably it wouldn't be, I would say,
probably
toward
Q4.
The end of the year. Yeah, Q4 maybe, realistically.
Yeah, I can't
So
think. I would say probably, we're in June now. We're nearly in July. I would say in reality, because obviously I'd imagine it will be more. This will be one for focusing for Q4, and then we'll probably run one sometime in Q4 to be able to pick up, the stuff coming out the back of the year, the sales and everything like that, coming out of Q4. But I can't see it more than a couple of times a year, for this course in particular. But want to be completely transparent. We're not about dangling carrots and doing this and doing that.
no.
This is, any type of I've also realized actually it needs to be put on YouTube as well. Yes, we've just put it on
we'll put a
Facebook.
post.
Sorry,
We'll put a
Xavier.
post in there. Go on the YouTube now.
Yeah, Matt will post it on there.
I've just seen the comment about the PayPal. Sorry, we weren't able to get Stripe set up in time, so we have PayPal, but you don't need a PayPal account to use PayPal. If you just click the use credit debit card, you can just put your details in without having a PayPal account. You don't need to have a PayPal account. You can just use the PayPal checkout without having a PayPal account.
If you really can't use PayPal, then drop either Matthew or myself a message and we can send you an invoice. That's the other way. Next time we do something like this, we'll have it set up so it's not in PayPal. But yeah, this is how we really want to deliver any type of paid information moving forward. These type of masterclasses, these type of sort of events, learning experiences, where people get the opportunity to experience it in a kind of group setting. That's what we want to do moving forward. So yeah. So Craig, if you have any issues, then drop either of us a message and we can send you an invoice and you can just pay ordinarily. So it will be next week. But we're not going to have any cart closing or sign. No. Well, obviously there will be a cart close, but it will be, because we're going to do the event, not because for any type of sales reasons or anything like that at all. So when will we actually, we haven't even discussed that. We're probably, what we also don't want to happen is we're not going to leave it open until like 1 minute before, because we want to focus on the training. So we don't want to have people messaging us saying, oh, I didn't get in, I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. So we'll give notice, but we'll probably close it about lunchtime the day of, I would have thought, something like that.
Yeah, probably early afternoon. Yeah, we don't want to be doing the thing where like people are trying to get on the call, like buying at 59, and then it starts at 7, and then you miss it and all that. So
it's going to happen.
Buy in plenty of time.
Yeah,
if you want to join. We don't want anyone like getting on at 59 and then missing it and stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. And there's not going to be a reduced price. The price is the price, so you don't have to worry about, if you sign up today, it's going to be the same as tomorrow. But genuinely, we do have limited spaces, so that's the other thing to consider. Right. Peter, appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much. I know that's not what you meant. Absolutely. There we go. You said that. It's not a course. It's not a course. I don't know. Colin said I wasn't buying any more courses. You just made me a liar. Sorry about that, Colin. It's just gonna be, like I said, training event. It's not gonna be a course, so it'll be able for you to look back for sure. Xavier says, I'm not a member of the Facebook group. Ecom Inner Circle. Find us on Facebook. We are literally the worst like YouTube broadcasters in the world because we don't put any links to anything. We don't do anything. So Xavier, if you find us,
can you put that on YouTube now? Can you put the link on?
I don't even know. Could you do it?
Okay, Matt.
I once we're live, I don't like touching any buttons or pressing anything because I think I'm just gonna like shut it all off. Colin says potato. Peter says, tell the wife it's not a course. Absolutely. Sure. Right. Any other questions? But like I said, it's it's not the hard sell. We're not going to try and oversell it. At the end of the day, 2-hour training session. We'll stay on there as long as we need to. If you have paid to attend, then you'll get the recorded course. And I think they'll get. Do you get a Zoom link when you sign up? Oh yeah, let's just
yes, it should. Yes, it should. Sorry, I'll just pop in the comment in now. There we go. Checkout's on the YouTube now. Yes, if people can actually confirm this is working okay. So everybody who signed up should have an email with the joining link in, which has gone to the email used to sign up. And also the link is also in the page after you've checked out. So if someone could confirm that they have the link, that would be great as well.
There we go. FOMO's kicking in for Andre. He said, just tune in. What's happening? So it's happening next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Matthew's going to run a retail arbitrage masterclass, and he's going to, it's going to be 2 hours long, £69 plus Q&A. My notification's still going off, sorry. And he's going to run through all of the, all of the details about, so I was reading comments as I was doing about his top tips, tricks, strategies, how to do RA in the way that he does it, how he plans his trips. Like I said, it's not going to be a case of going into Tesco and scanning coffee or anything like that. Very strategic, very good approach to it. So that's what the link's for. If you want to join, please feel free. But if anyone does want any more information, we're going to do a post after this and put it in the Facebook group. So if you missed that part of the information, then we'll do a post. So hopefully all of the information will be in there for sure. Just going back to Andrew's question earlier. Sorry, that's just reminded me because of what Callum said. Was Andrew asked, is it suitable for just eBay sellers?
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, our rate probably is actually a little bit better for eBay sellers because the prices are keener, they're more competitive, more one-off. Yes, absolutely. You can do just eBay sellers. There's no reason, because what I'm going to be teaching you guys is how to find the deals and how to maximize your time, how to plan a successful RA trip. The selling side, I'm going to obviously teach. I'm not going to be teaching you how to sell stuff. I'm just going to be teaching you how to find stuff to sell. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point. So there's not going to be anything to show you guys if you're on the beginner side of it, how to pack it and send it to Amazon. This is purely
not
about
that kind of stuff. No.
Yeah. So just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be up and running. You have to be selling. Or if you are new and you want to start off with a bang with retail arbitrage, then absolutely this absolutely is for all level of sellers. Anybody can do it. The only pre-requirements are you kind of have to be set up already. You have to, there's not going to be any of that type of training or support. But the only requirements is you have to be prepared to go out. I don't want anyone to join saying, oh, I thought I could do this from home. Well, you can do the majority of the planning and the work from home, the strategy from home, but it does mean that you are going to have to physically go out.
And you are going to have to be prepared to go out and get, there's no way around it. There's the beauty, the reason retail arbitrage works so well is because you will be prepared to do things that others won't. So if you're too lazy to get off the sofa and go to the shop, then that's why other people are having success and you're not.
Yeah, absolutely. Harsh.
Sorry, harsh truth.
No, this isn't low-hanging fruit. So, it's definitely going to be anything that's a little bit harder. That's why there's less competition. That's why the margins are traditionally higher, and why it has always been the case in retail arbitrage versus online arbitrage. So if you are somebody that has the ability to be able to do this, even if it's once a week, what you'll find, say, for instance, your business is running at, say, 10% or something like that, and you know that you're approaching the VAT threshold or something like that, and you know that you need to increase your margins, then something like this will be perfect for you, because traditionally you see with these type of, RA, it's quite an American kind of strategy as well, I think. Yeah, you see it a lot in America, people doing this kind of thing, and I actually didn't know people did it here, but absolutely people do. So and it's great for a replenishable model as well, where a lot of people can identify something and then just go out with a shopping list and just kind of re-pick up those type of replenishable goods that are slightly harder to get from online retailers.
Yeah.
Andrew said put a trailer on the back of a power chair. Absolutely. Definitely. Someone
Yeah.
said he's giving Andre said giving away one shop too. Well, I don't think it's a real big secret. You go anywhere and everywhere, don't you?
Yeah, just go to like everyday retailers. There's no, and the thing is, I could say, oh, I go to Tesco's. That doesn't mean anything because it's about knowing when and where the deals are, not about where I go. Because I could tell you I go to Tesco's and which Tesco's I go to, and you could go and there'd be nothing there. So it's irrelevant where I go. You've got to know when to go where, basically.
Yeah. Peter says, good point. You get extraordinary results if you do extraordinary things. Absolutely. Peter says, I think that RA is more return with potentially less risk. Fewer things are like this in life. I would tend to agree with that. I think if you were in a room and you gave 10 people £1,000 and 5 of them went out and spent it RA and the other 5 OA, I think you'd see the 5 with a much higher return than you would from, those with RA, or even, but like I said, again, this is not trying to persuade people that OA is the devil and this is to be added to, in addition to, to be weaved into your business, and take advantage of. Some people might only do this at sales events. Some people, it's not something, some of you might fall in love with it and say, actually, I'm going to follow Matthew's example and I'm going to, live my best life traveling around the country doing it. That's the beauty of it. You can do it as much as you want, as little as you want. And
absolutely. Yeah.
I think Paul asked a question that I missed. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me go back. Have you considered some system whereby you share potential deals other than for the few that might be available nationally? So some sort of deal thing. I think you don't.
No, it doesn't appeal to me. The thing is, if I buy a deal, I buy it all anyway, so there's no point. Does that make sense? I know.
It's a lot of one-off deals, isn't there?
Yeah, it's mostly one-off deals. It's very circumstantial deals. It's which is why I do so well out of it. I think is because I buy things with low stock or that it's harder to get hold of, and that's the reason. And the thing is, if I put a deal on, the thing about RA, if I put a deal on today, if you've not got it by Monday, it's gone.
Yeah.
There's a certain urgency in RA that has to happen. And the problem with RA is OA you can get a VA to place an order, or you can place an order yourself. RA you have to physically go, which is part of the reason it's so successful. But I just don't think a deal service would work, because I could post a deal today and say, oh, look at this, this is on sale. But by the way, if you don't get it by tomorrow morning, it's probably gone. I don't know if it would work.
Yeah. I think Andy's hit the nail on the head there with that comment. No blanket statements will ever apply to anyone or every model. Absolutely true. Some people will hate RA and wouldn't stick to it, even if it works, and others will love it and persist when it's hard. Planning makes a massive difference too. So you can plan smart and avoid the chances of coming back with nothing. That is the key. How many times have we all been in groups where, you see people posting, I've been out today. I was in Tesco. I know we seem to be picking on Tesco's a lot today. I was in Tesco's. I stood there for 4 hours. The deputy manager was eyeballing me, and I came away with one deal and I'm not even really sure if I can sell it. All of these different types of things. You're never in that position. You presumably, if there's no profit to be had, you don't go.
No, I don't. This is the thing about my strategy. I don't leave unless I know there's a deal. It's because the question is, people say to me, oh, I go to Tesco's and scan. I'm like, why are you scanning in Tesco's? How do you not know what's there already? You've got the whole, I'll let you in a little secret, there's a whole internet there of where you can check things before you go. You shouldn't be stood in Tesco scanning stuff, because unless it's something that you've found unexpectedly with the yellow label on, because you should know that there's deals there already. I mean, okay, there is a certain level of scanning, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
you'll go and you'll find something that you didn't know of, and then you will scan things. but you should never go somewhere on a whim. But there is an exception to this, which I'll talk about in the course. There is an exception to this.
Don't call it a course. It's not a course. We
on
promise.
this, not it's not a course. On this event, we'll call it an event. There is an exception to this, but they say I don't go out and scan stuff. I don't spend 4 hours in Tesco scanning. It's just a waste of time. The research is done prior. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm getting.
Yeah, that's absolutely what the training's for.
That's Peter. The training's for. Yeah,
definitely. Sorry, we can't give that away. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got to be honest. Even with a plan, I would still go in and have a little scan as well, because the other thing we haven't spoken about yet, the more that you do this, the more that you almost become a beacon, I think, for what, you know, like Alan Sugar says, you get to smell what sells. And I do believe that. Well, automatically you could go in with a very specific plan, but then you will notice stuff that you think, okay, that is a little bit, that's cheaper than what it should be normally. You know, when we were heavily involved in RA, I would be able to walk in and Matt would say, what about that? I'd say, no, too expensive. No, you know, it doesn't mean that you know everything. You're not an Ecom oracle, but I know lots, and I've spoken to lots of other people that have this as well. You tend to get a sense for being able to spot things the more you do it than you would be able to normally, because you get a general feel for what things are priced for and whether or not something looks like it could be popular and it could be sold on Amazon at a higher price than what it's being sold at that moment.
Yeah, that's very much part of the strategy, you're being able to look at things and just know if they're cheap. That's why part of the scan. The funny thing is, I don't scan. I don't scan anything. I mean, I'll tell you on the course why I don't scan anything. Scanning in my eyes is a bit of a disaster, and there's a very good reason why. I'll explain why on the course. But I don't scan any particular product. I don't scan anything.
Oh, Matthew, you big tease.
Big tease, yeah. Don't scan anything.
Tease. Don't scan anything. Don't listen to me. Like I said, I haven't done RA in about 4 years, so don't listen to me. But well, apart from
I research, but I don't scan, and I'll explain why I don't scan as well. It's a big reason I don't scan.
Okay, that's interesting. So Peter says, I understand signing up. Rodney says, I still can't help scanning when I'm out. Grocery shopping drives the wife mad. Absolutely. That's what I was just about to say. It's addictive. I still cannot help scanning stuff. And, you know, if I do see a little bargain, I can't help myself, you know, Nerf guns, half price, you know, that type of thing. We will always go for it. Andy says scanning does find the stuff that's mislabeled and selling for less than advertised. Absolutely. I think we've got all questions. Matthew, if you wouldn't mind. So we'll quickly wrap up now. If you wouldn't mind posting the link again in YouTube and on the comments feed here. I think most people have got it. But yeah, so if you do want to join us, it's going to be next Wednesday, the 29th at 7 p.m. It's going to be a live training event. It's £69 to attend. I know someone said about a VAT invoice. That is inclusive of VAT. Well, actually, there is no VAT charge.
There is no VAT. No, we're not charging VAT. So
yeah. So this is a brand new company, so there's no VAT to pay. So enjoy it while you can.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts.
For those who are VAT registered, it would make a difference because you claim it back. But for those who are new and aren't VAT registered, then yes, that is again. I'm not trying to false scarcity, but if this group does grow and we start doing more things, we may have to get it registered. So if you're not VAT registered, buying it now might save you more money down the line.
I don't think that's going to happen between now and next week, Matthew, at £69.
No, but I mean, if you don't buy into it this time and go, I'll wait till the end of the year, you might have to pay more.
Yeah, for VAT registered sellers, you know, it's not going to be an issue. But like I said, it's going to be a 2-hour training event, possibly around 2 hours, something like that. And then there'll be extra time for Q&A afterwards. It's going to be delivered via Zoom. It's going to be with Matthew leading. I'll be there as well to keep you all in check and answer any questions and things like that. But it probably will be to time because Matthew's leading the training and not me. So, you know, he's generally pretty good with his timings. And yeah, it's just going to cover all of the aspects and elements that he does that helps him build a successful part of his business. It's not all of your business. The other part of your business, we might do another training session about at another point, which again is very unique, very different. But as it stands at the moment, and we haven't actually said as well, you spend £500,000 a year on this stock buying around the country as well. So this isn't chump change either, guys. So that's what I said. So even if you are a very high level seller yourself, and this is something that you are particularly interested in, don't think that this is beginner, for beginners only, or advanced. This is literally, it should suit most people and most budgets, because it covers so many retailers, so many products, so many different types of opportunities. So it should, suit most people. So link is there, should be on YouTube, should be on Facebook. We'll pop it in the Facebook group a bit later this afternoon anyway as well. But like I said, £69. I'd be very surprised if everybody couldn't cover the cost, even if you choose not to do it moving forward, even if you go through the training. But even, it might give you the opportunity to, expand on an extra area of sourcing within your business, which, as we know, over the next 12 months, things are potentially going to get a little bit bumpy. And, the more sourcing ability that you can bring into your arsenal, then, the better chance you have of not being a victim of, potential supply chain issues at a later stage.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to go because I can't drink out of my glass. And yeah, that's so weird. I can't believe that happened. But
that was really odd, that way that happened.
I know. It just literally smashed and smashed to the point where all the water stayed in it. And yeah, it was a massive full glass of water. So I keep picking it up. I thought it's going to crack. Anyway, so any questions, let us know. If you can't pay by PayPal for whatever reason, I know some people have issue with it, drop myself or Matthew a message and we'll be able to drop you an invoice and you'll be able to just pay by, business bank transfer or something like that. So don't worry, we can get you, don't not do it because it's PayPal. But you said you don't need a PayPal account. You can just
do it. You can just use the checkout. Yeah, you can. Yeah. You don't need to. You don't actually need a PayPal account to use the PayPal checkout.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. And, I really, really think that it's going to benefit a lot of you guys. So if you can, please do make sure you join us next Wednesday. But of course, we'll see you before them anyway. We'll see you next Tuesday. Any questions, feel free to pop them in the group. You guys are keeping us busy at the moment, which is great to see. What we want. Nice interactive group with, lots of engagement and people talking about stuff. So we really appreciate that. Any questions, let us know. And yeah, that's it pretty much. Over to you.
That's it from me. Yeah. I think we've covered everything.
Yeah. Have a great week, guys.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.
See you soon. Bye.